Hello everybody and welcome to Board Game Inquisition. And this is our monthly roundup that I call the Inquisitor's Conclave, where I sit down and I kind of have a chat with you about the changes that's been going on in my collection, the games I've played, and I kind of hope that you guys will also kind of play along with me, as I say. I'd love to hear what you've been playing. I'd love to hear what new games you got, maybe games you got rid of. Let's hear why. Please send off in the comments below. I'd really like to hear from you. So this is the roundup for the month of August, and July had been a very big board game month for us here, and I wanted August to be nice and quiet because, you know, Essen is coming soon. You're starting to see all the previews coming out, and I'm trying to put some money aside for that so that I can at least, you know, buy some games. So this month we tried to be quiet. I'm not sure if we succeeded. So I'm going to talk about firstly the games we've acquired. Okay, so gotta use my trusty phone today. My printer is out of ink. Okay, so the first game we got right near the start of the month is Hanzai from Deepwater Games. And this was part of their herbalism package, but it was delayed for quite some time. And it eventually showed up. So hurrah! You know, that completes my Emperor S4 collection. I swear I'm not entirely obsessed. So what it's about is, it's basically a memory game, but that's supposed to help you like learn the Chinese language at the same time. My husband hates it, because he hates memory games. I like it because I'm good at memory games. So I've only played it once or twice. I'm hoping I can find some more people to play it with that, you know, won't be so turned off by it. But I like it. I did feel like the quality of the cards isn't as good as it has been in the other products I've gotten from Deepwater Games. That might have been to do with the issue with why it was delayed in the first place, but who knows. So that was the first game. Okay, second game of the month, and this actually was to do with Gen Cant. So how many of you guys got to go to Gen Con? Raise your hand. Okay, no, not me. Fergus, if you did, I'd love to hear how you get on. What was like the most amazing part of it for you? I saw pictures of the crowds of people attending Gen Con. Wow, that's a lot of gamers, and also a lot of games. So yeah, I'd love to hear how that went. But I discovered, you know, a day or so before Gen Con that there was this thing called Gen Cant. It seemed to be hashtagging around on Twitter, and with a little bit of help, somebody explained to me what it was, and it was a kind of a celebration of gaming for those who couldn't go to Gen Con. You know, and people were hashtagging the games they were playing like it was an event, and it was a lot of fun. So we decided to play along with Gen Cant. We printed out our badges, and we went to like a local game night and everything. It was very exciting, and we bought a new game in honor of Gen Cant, and this was Spectre Ops. Spectre Ops is one that they talk about quite a bit on the Dice Tower actually. In particular, Sam Healy always seems to like it. And while I don't think, you know, a lot of my interests align with Sam Healy's when it comes to board games, I do get a good sense for what he likes that I won't like, or what he likes that I will like. So when we saw Spectre Ops, it's one he's talked about quite a bit, and we thought it sounded kind of fun and interesting, so I picked that up. Man, is it hard! Now, it's probably because we're playing a 2-player and my husband is some sort of deduction wizard. So initially when we sat down, I said, I'll never be able to find you. Okay, let me explain what the game's about. So the game is basically one of you is an agent and the others are trying to find the agent. And it's set on this board, which is like a grid, so it's just numbers as locations. And the person who's hiding keeps their model hidden, so the enemy doesn't know where they are. And you move by tracking it down on paper, and they have to try and corner you to figure out where you are. So when first time around I said, I better be the one who's hiding because I'd be terrible at finding him. I thought this would be the easier outlet. But you come in a predetermined location on the board, right? So my husband instantly knew to spread out in such a round way. He had me captured in like a turn. It was pretty shocking. And I was like, oh, this is really annoying. I was getting kind of annoyed with it. And he's like, why don't you swap and try, you know, playing the other side? So we tried that. Didn't go a whole lot better. Now the game is definitely designed possibly for more players than 2. I think at 2 you have to be fairly evenly matched to be able to kind of have it well balanced and be able to play it well. So I look forward to playing it with more players. I still think it's a very good game and one that's pretty fun. It's also very simple, it's very easy to teach, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it in the future, just not with the 2 of us. Okay, so that was the second game. What was the third? Okay, third game. Okay, so this was a review game I acquired, and it's Castles of Calera. So those of you who follows my videos will probably have noted by now that I made a review video about this. But I received it as a print and play copy. So this is the first time I've ever actually gone and got something printed out in colour. The artwork for this game was stunning. It's a micro card game where you build a castle competitively against your opponent. And you play a series of cards. It's short and it's sweet. If you want to know more, go check out the review. I think it's exceptional for new players or anyone you might want to introduce to modern board gaming, because I think it's very akin to like a card game, and this is just like a step up from that to kind of introduce people. So that was quite exciting. It was nice to play, and I also got to record a kind of first live playthrough of a game. I'm not sure how well that went. It was difficult setting up that number of cameras, but I thought the game deserved it, and that it should be seen kind of in action. Okay, so after Castles of Calera, okay, this is where it gets very exciting. So this is well, not oddly enough, my husband really enjoys Scythe. Now, I like Scythe too, don't get me wrong, but I always find I muck it up somehow when I play it. I have a tendency to misread all of the cards repeatedly, in particular those involving missions or kind of the bonus points ones for the side of the board. So we played Scythe some, but not a ton. And I found it kind of hilarious that my husband ordered the Rise of Fenris expansion kind of without me knowing. I knew he mentioned it when we were in the board game shop the last time, and so we showed up to play board games of a Friday night with a group in Happy Go Lucky, and sure enough there was Rise of Fenris. So this is the big deal right now, right, going around, and this will be spoiler free whatever I say about it, because it's the kind of game where you don't want to know everything from the outset. It's a little bit like Gloomhaven perhaps, or those legacy games where you unlock things as you go further through it, so I don't want to give anything away. But wow, was that a blast to play. Like, there's 8 scenarios in the game, and we played 5 of those in a weekend. We played 3 of them in a row back to back, and we would have gone for more if we weren't so exhausted. And then we had to wait till the following weekend to finish off the final 3. I found it to be quite gripping and definitely very enjoyable. And the nice thing about this is that, yeah, you go through the experience of the expansion, right? And you get to unlock all the stuff, but when you're finished, you get to keep all these things and use them in your regular game of Scythe, which is pretty sweet, and I think it'll breathe a lot of life into the game. Now, I'm a bit side out at the minute, right, so we haven't tried out kind of any of the changes that the Rise of Fenris expansion has brought about, but I'm looking forward to it. Now, another really important thing to note, by playing 8 games of Scythe in close conjunction to each other, I learned a hell of a lot about how to play the game. A lot more than I had. I assumed I knew more than I actually did, and I found that by playing them together and building upon my knowledge from each game, that I really became a vastly better player. And I think this is something people should try more with their own games, and it's something people should try more with other games. This expansion encouraged you to play multiple games of Scythe, so that was great, and from that you learn something. I think other expansions should do the same thing to really get you fully to grips with the game. I actually think it would be an interesting way to introduce people to the game too, but that's up for debate. I've heard other people say otherwise, but yeah, that was really a phenomenal expansion and a pretty fun experience. So yeah, Scythe: The Rise of Fenris. Okay, so what came after that? Oh yeah, so 2 more. So this is another review copy. You've probably seen me posting pictures of it around the interwebs, and this is the Green Box of Games. So this is another review copy that's been sent to me that I'm working my way through, and what it is it's not really a game, it's more of a system. And so there are 16 games in the box, meaning that there are all these components, and the rulebook lists out different types of games you can play and tells you what way to use these components, or some of them or all of them, to be able to create different games. So how I'm reviewing this at the moment is that I'm playing each of the games individually from the rulebook, and I'm making a little video before we start and a little video at the end to tell you what I thought about it and to show you what it looks like. Because otherwise I think it'd be very hard to explain the game in a review format when it's like so many little games inside of it. I do enjoy these kind of games where there are multiple ones inside, like Pyramid Arcade, for example. But I'm curious to kind of see how much I'm getting towards the puzzle end now of the rule book, so I want to see how much more puzzly it gets as we go along. So that's that, and then the final game that isn't here yet but will be here by the end of the month, I believe it's going to be here tomorrow, so I probably should include it in this, is Alien Frontiers. Is the last one on the list, and I was fortunate enough to be able to buy it for a fairly reasonable price from a trading group. Alien Frontiers is like the original Kickstarter game, right? It was like one of the first games to be Kickstartered, and it's basically a dice management game in space. And it's one that's been on my list for a really long time. When I initially put together a wish list for this Conclave, I was trying to narrow down my very broad and large for trade or wish list I have from Board Game Geek into something kind of manageable. And I had a lot of dice management games on the list. Yeah, I really seem to like those, or at least I'm drawn towards those. I don't know, maybe I'm getting a bit fatigued of them at this point. But I chopped everything I wanted, all the dice games, off the list, and I replaced it with one. I left one on it, which was being Quantum, which is a spaceship dice game. And ironically enough, everything else that was on my list I've somehow magically acquired except for Quantum. Yeah, you gotta love how that works. My shopping is not very focused, is it? But I'm really excited to get a go at Alien Frontiers. I'm hoping it arrives before the Kickstarter for all the expansion ends. If you didn't know that, there is a Kickstarter for Alien Frontiers where you can buy all of the previous expansions for the game in one box. Woohoo! It's not due till like June of next year. Why? I don't understand Kickstarters sometimes. But it's something I would seriously consider if the game is anyway good. Has anyone played Alien Frontiers? Would you recommend getting the expansions? Please let me know, possibly before the campaign ends. God knows when that is. It's soon. It's really soon. I think there's like 72 hours left or something like that. So we'll see how quickly I can post this video. So yeah, so that is the last game on the agenda. So well, we tried to keep it quiet this month. It turned out not to be as quiet as I would have thought. But, you know, these things happen sometimes, don't they? Yeah, it's still saving money for Essen though, so that's all good. Okay, so the next section of this discussion is trades. I love trades, love recycling, love getting games in exchange for games I didn't particularly like. We have bought one trade this month. And we traded away a copy of Legendary Firefly in exchange for Ulm. Yeah, I love saying Ulm. I just love Germans and Germany in general. But so the Firefly game wasn't really one for us. We found it to be really lackluster when we played it. I know other people love these legendary games. I don't know why we don't, but you know what? The people are different and like different things. And it's been on our for trade list for a really long time. Ulm is one, I won't lie, that drew me in with the components. It's got a beautiful 3D like church cathedral thing in the middle, and other than that I didn't know a lot about it, but I have a tendency to like these kind of city named games. You know, I'd love to get a copy of Notre Dame as well, and there are more. St. Petersburg, I could continue, but Ulm always kind of looked pleasant, so when I managed to trade for a copy of it, I was really excited, and then finally got round to playing it. It's not an intense game, it's quite relaxed, but the mechanism of it is incredibly clever and unique. So like there's a 3x3 grid of action tiles, and then you add one of your own action tiles to it and you push one out, and you get to perform the first 3 actions in the row. Pretty clever, right? But it's mostly about controlling the board and having the most influence in the city. That's where you get the victory points from. But we really enjoyed it. It's very unique. It feels very different to other games, and yet it also feels quite casual and relaxed, and I think I really like that about it. It might be more cutthroat with more players than 2 because there are only so many spaces on the board, but at 2 we really enjoyed it and thought it was a pretty great game. So yeah, so that's the only trade for this month, boo hiss, but our trade pile is getting ever smaller as I've done a lot of trading in the past couple of months. Have you traded for anything recently? I'd love to hear your stories. Did anybody bag a bargain? Did anybody bag a bargain? Oh my god, I can't say it. Did anybody bag a bargain? There we go, got it out eventually. Please let me know, I'd love to hear from you. Alright, so what's the next section? Yep, so the number of plays, so the most popular games we've played this month. Yet again, I'm going to say this with a caveat of, we play a lot of individual games, you know, we don't play a lot of them back to back, which is why, you know, Rise of Fenris was such a weird thing for us. And we do have rather a large collection, and so depending on kind of the day, the week, the mood, how your brain is feeling, we'll play a variety of things. So when I list these games out saying, you know, kind of how often we've played them, I don't think it's really representative of how much we've played. And I'm thinking I might start changing this slot into something a little different over time. Not sure yet, but I'd love to hear what you've played. I'd be curious actually to see, you know, what the most popular games are out there from people listening away. Okay, so number of plays. We're going to do this in reverse order. In 5th position is Spectre Ops with 2 plays. I don't know why the app chose Spectre Ops, because there's lots of other games in there we've played twice, but for some reason it thought Spectre Ops was the one it should show me on kind of the little grid. So yeah, I spoke about that a little bit. We've only played it twice because we've played, you know, the role on each side. I want to play it with more people to kind of get a better feel for it, but I think it's got tons of potential. Absolutely tons of potential. Okay, so in 4th place, okay, this is much more reasonable, is King Domino, and that's with 3 plays. King Domino is the game I will persistently play because I seem to be kind of good at it. This is a terrible thing. Also, it doesn't take a lot of time. We have Queen Domino as well, and ironically enough, the minute we got Queen Domino, we were like, nah, King is so much better. And we have friends who love Queen Domino, and when they got King, they thought Queen was better. So I think it really depends on what one you started out with. We just love how quick and snappy King Domino is, and Queen Domino just seems to be more of kind of trying to be a bigger game, and so it doesn't fit the same slot, right? So I don't think you can really compare them like that, but it's the game I'll pull out before going to bed, and I love connecting it up, and I love how it looks. It's a great little game. Okay, in 3rd place is Castles of Calera with 4 plays, and that's just this month, and I'm not surprised by that one at all because it's a quick game. You can go you know, you can play a couple of them back to back. I like that Castles of Calera a lot. It's the kind of game, you know what I mean, you want to play when you're traveling, you want to play in a train. It takes up very little space, it's quick, it's easy to teach, it's very accessible, and so we had a good time with Castles of Calera. Okay, so above that then is Green Box Games, the Green Box of Games, which has 4 plays, which is correct because I'm 4 games out of the 16. I thought I was 5. Maybe I didn't fill one in. I don't know. I do my best to fill things into the apps, but sometimes it's hard to remember. Do you guys feel the same way? Because it feels really weird at the end of a game, you know, the first thing you do is take out your phone and go, what's your score, and fill it in. I love being able to look back at all the statistics, but having to acquire them, not so much fun. So the Green Box of Games is going well so far. I look forward to doing more of those. Definitely will be fun, and hopefully the video will be entertaining too and give you an idea of what it's all about. And then unsurprisingly and unshockingly, in 1st place for number of plays is Rise of Fenris with 8 plays. Who'd have thunk it, you know, 8 scenarios in the box, and we've played it 8 times. Yeah, it was a really kind of impressive experience to play Rise of Fenris. I do really think it adds a lot to the game. I thought it was fun to play while we had it out. I actually really can't fault it. It's you know, when something just put together so well and it fits so neatly like it should. That's exactly what you get with this game. Not a thing is out of place, and I definitely recommend, if you're a fan of Side, you should go try it out. It's fantastic. Cool, so that is the number of plays portion done. What have you guys been playing? Isn't it weird that Azul isn't in my list? That might be to do with the fact I've been sick a lot this month. I was sick at the end of last month, so you know, our last conclave was done in voice only. I seem to have developed the ability to get mildly ill when I'm stressed out. And so I've spent a good bit of time kind of in recovery this month, and it's only really in the last week or so that I'm starting to kind of feel myself again. And it's really infuriating when you're ill because there's so many things you want to do and you just can't do them. And board games really fell into that category because my brain was just fuzz and mush, and I would try and play things and we'd have to stop and walk away, and it just wasn't happening. And then there's the pressure on top of that, because for me, like, the games here behind me are things we've collected, and they're worth money, and we invested into them, and I personally feel kind of guilty when I feel like I'm not utilizing them or when I'm not playing them. Now that's clearly my own issues. I don't think, or I hope other people don't feel that way about it. But board games mean a lot to me, and it feels weird when I can't access them. So thank God, you know, most of that is out of the way, but it messed a little bit with our play, specifically our Azul ones, because I was just too tired at night to manage a game of it. So this is the first month ever Azul isn't in our most played games. That's just shocking, isn't it? Gloomhaven isn't up there either, which is really weird. And that might be to do with the fact that we've in fact added 2 people to our Gloomhaven campaign, so we're only playing every fortnight instead of every week. It's a strange thing, because obviously it's great to play with more people, but you know when you kind of started something together and it was just kind of the 2 of you, and we were going through, you know, Gloomhaven together and we could play whenever we wanted. It's strange now having to kind of be at the behest of others and include them in everything. And that's not a terrible thing. I don't think it's bad, it's just different. And it's taken me a while to adjust to the fact that, you know, can't play Gloomhaven whenever we want anymore because, you know, we're waiting for people. Other weird thing to point out about Gloomhaven, I managed to like to retire my second character. Woohoo! I think I got a really, really easy quest to retire them with. And interestingly enough, one of our new guys has been working towards, you know, his own quest for his character, and he'd been really excited. He was looking at the symbol at the bottom of his card to see what he'd be unlocking next, and we discovered there was 2 boxes in the Gloomhaven box related to this new character, and he was really excited about it. So I managed to finish my character's quest and retire them, and I looked at the symbol on the card and I went, oh, I need this one, what's the box? You know, you get really excited about these things in Gloomhaven. And they handed it out to me and I opened it up and they were like, oh, there's 2 boxes for you. And I was like, wow, another character with 2 boxes? So I opened it up and then it turns out it's the exact same symbol as our new player has. And I felt awful because he's been looking forward to that for like pretty much since we started that campaign, and then to kind of whip it away from him felt terrible. And I already had everything open, so I couldn't kind of undo it, you know, because half of the fun is the surprise of not knowing what's in it. And I'm surprised that the game kind of allowed that situation to happen, so we're trying to figure out how to rectify it. Apparently he'll do some sort of side quest or something instead, but you know, the new players, you really want them to have the full experience, and I feel like I robbed that from him. So yeah, damn it, Gloomhaven. That was just a little bit of a side adjunct, but that's how it goes. Okay, so the final section, this is usually wish list. Yeah, right, wish list. I got nothing on my wish list because I'm saving for Essen. I'll probably make a video about, you know, the games I'm looking forward to at Essen. As it stands at the moment, there are 10 new games coming out I'm interested in, and 16 old games I want to go and try and buy secondhand. So you can tell where my loyalties lie with the cult of the new, you know, but I think I'll make a full video about that before I go. Would people be interested in hearing, you know, my picks for Essen? I don't know, other people seem to do it, maybe it's popular. Let me know if you'd like to hear that, if you're curious to see what I'm thinking about. Okay, so that's it now for August. Where has the time gone? It's practically September already. So if you have any questions or queries you'd like to ask me, please feel free to do so. I love hearing from you guys. Cheers to anyone who actually comments, because it's nice to, you know, kind of have someone to bounce ideas off or have a chat with, so it's not just me shouting into the void. Until next time, I'll be here playing games, asking questions, and of course perusing my collection. Take care everybody, bye bye.